winner, Homer.
Unbelievable. The best 60 minutes of your day start right now. It's the Homer Hour, the Emmy Award winner Homer off in Ireland. I'm Alex Strofe with you one final time this week. Tony Cartagena, Brian Balaga, Gary Ellerson will take you the rest of the way. But boy, oh boy, do we have a lot of ground to cover today. We will get to the Green Bay Packers with Jason Wilde, but it's all Brewers all the time the rest of the way. Because what we witnessed last night and what we witnessed today is the absolute definition of the best team in baseball. Today felt a little dicey at times, right? The Pirates bring it within one run. We know what's at stake with the 12th win in a row and the great promotion George Webb runs. But what we witnessed the last 2 days specifically are the different ways the Brewers can beat you. A couple of long balls yesterday, didn't need any of those today. It was the small ball, Murphy ball philosophy that this Brewers team has mastered the last several months and just emphasizes, if you've been watching like I have, it emphasizes what we've known for a few months. And that is they are capable of beating anybody in multiple different ways. Defensively, they are as disciplined as any team in baseball. They don't make errors. They don't make mistakes. Their pitching staff is as good as anybody in baseball, despite the few missteps today. Overall, they have the best pitching staff in baseball, from starters to relievers to their stud closer and Trevor Miguel, the all-star. They're as good as anybody there. Yeah, maybe they're not the sexiest team in baseball because they don't hit the most home runs, but they get on base, and when they do, they take advantage of it. They're one of the best teams in the majors at stealing bases. They are the fastest team in the league when it comes to rounding the bases. So it might not be quote-unquote sexy because they're not hitting home runs, but boy, is it sexy to watch, and boy, is it fun to watch. You are witnessing the golden age of Milwaukee Brewers baseball. So drink it in because it's not going to get a whole lot better than this. Well, hopefully it does in October, but in terms of regular season buzz in the middle of August, it's never been this good. Now, granted, I was not alive in 1982, so for those of you that were, I would love to hear from you because I'm certain, despite not being alive in 1982, that this team is a little bit reminiscent of that team. Because they can play with anybody, they can hang with anybody. Every night out, you are confident that they can win. And again, they do today. A 12-5 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is their 12th in a row, and free burgers will be announced tomorrow by George Webb restaurants all over the state of Wisconsin and southeast Wisconsin. Petey Pablo chimes in on the Cardless text line. Not only are they great, they're hungry. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. You know, I heard earlier this week on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, and we did a little bit on Kyle Brust and Nortman, and I know it's been a topic because of how good they are. We're talking about nicknames. And I feel like one of the top nicknames that's been suggested was Murphy's Misfits. And I love that nickname. Though it might seem a tad disrespectful, I love that nickname because you've got a bunch of dudes who shouldn't be playing at the level they're playing, outside of like maybe Brandon Woodruff and maybe Jacob Mizorowski when he's been healthy. They are so impressive. Everybody's playing out of their minds, right? William Contreras is back to form. There's another guy that maybe you expect him to play well. And Christian Yelich, who leads the league, team in home runs. Maybe you expect him to play well. But did you expect what you've gotten out of Sal Frelick? Did you expect what you've gotten out of Bryce Terang? Nobody expected it out of Andrew Vaughn. Nobody expected it out of Blake Perkins. Nobody expected it out of Caleb Durbin. Joey Ortiz has turned a corner. Every single player on this team is contributing in a major way. And that's why you have a team that is 32 games now over 500. That is why this team, at least as it stands right this second, is 8 games above the Cubs in the National League Central. That's why you have a team who's looking like it will not only have the best record in baseball, but it will cruise to the best record in baseball come the end of September when the regular season ends. I didn't expect all this. But boy, am I having fun watching it. Boy, am I having fun watching it. I mean, I've never seen a Brewers team like this in the 21st century. And I've been saying that for at least months at this point. They are that good. You know, I understand people are going to doubt them, and we've discussed this, right? The fact, are they peaking too early? No, I just think they're this good. I just think they need to be considered what they've shown us. Because when it comes to sample size, all you can take is what you've been shown. And all you have been shown since mid-May is the Milwaukee Brewers are the best team in baseball. They can beat anybody. They can hang with anybody. They'll either hit home runs or they'll play their small ball, and they will be disciplined on the base pads, and they will find ways to outscore you, and they will find ways to tire you out. There was an at-bat today for Sal Frelick. It ultimately ended up being a walk, but it led to a few runs. I think it was in the 6th inning. I don't know the box score in front of me. But I think it was a 9 or 10 pitch at-bat that ultimately ended up being a base on balls, but he was down 1-2 in that count. And it's just the way they tire you out and get in your head and play the mental game, and then you know they are going to capitalize when there are runners in scoring position. Truly remarkable what we are witnessing with the Milwaukee Brewers. Truly. It's the Homer Hour, ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Alex Strofe hanging out with you. Your way into the show, 800-990-3776 is the Carbless Talking text line. Free burgers for everybody coming soon from George Webb Restaurants. And 12 wins in a row for the Crew as they head into an off day before a weekend series with the Cincinnati Reds beginning on Friday. And then what was once a big-time series beginning Monday that no longer feels like a big-time series. It still is, and we'll get to that in a moment. Against the Chicago Cubs starting on Monday, a 5-game series that will go through Thursday. There's a doubleheader Monday. But isn't it starting to feel like that series, well, isn't as big as it felt even 2 weeks ago? The Brewers, as it stands right now, have an 8-game lead in the NL Central. They play 5 games against the Chicago Cubs next week. This won't happen, but in the hypothetical the Brewers were to get swept in that 5-game series, they would still have a 3-game lead in the NL Central. That is how much cushion they have built for themselves. That is how much ground they have made up in what some viewed just 2 weeks ago as the most competitive race in all of baseball to win the NL Central. Truly outrageous. It'll still be an important series, obviously, because you can gain even more ground in the NL Central. And sheesh, the way the Brewers are playing, they might win another 12 in a row. They might just go ahead and make it 24 and make George Webb do this whole damn thing over again. I've said this as a joke, and I still mean it as a joke. Because there's so much time left in the MLB season. But what have they shown you that makes you think they'll ever lose again? I mean, all they have shown you is different ways to win. Last night, it's home runs. Today, it's loading up the base pads and running and small hits, base hits, and boom, 12 runs all of a sudden. I mean, it's to the point where it's just not making a lot of sense, but it's not a fluke because they keep doing it. I mean, just 23 days ago, just over 3 weeks ago, the Brewers were at an 11-game win streak heading into a Tuesday night 3 weeks ago where they ultimately lost the 11-game win streak and the burgers didn't happen. And here we are just over 3 weeks later, and the 12 games in a row did happen. The last time a team in the National League had multiple 11-game winning streaks in the same season was 90 years ago. 1935 was the last time a National League team had 2 different winning streaks of 11 games or more. 1935. Think about that. So there's no fluke. There's no peaking too early. This team is that good. And they deserve all the respect that's coming their way. Because finally, it seems nationally, the Brewers are getting the respect they deserve. The national pundits and the talking heads are acknowledging, whoa, whatever they're cooking up in Milwaukee, brought to you courtesy of Matt Arnold and Pat Murphy, is for real. They are real players in not only the National League, but in the MLB. They are real players to win the World Series because they just keep doing the same thing, and that is win. That's all they do. Unbelievable. Dave from Aaron chimes in. Carbless text line 800-990-3776. The Cubs series is still a big series, and I want them to concentrate on at least winning the series. However, I'd love to bury them and get a 5-game. So, yeah, me too, Dave. I mean, for obvious reasons, right? Not only are they a rival, not only are they a team from Chicago that us Milwaukeeans and us Wisconsinites just naturally hate, they plucked our manager. And by the way, thank you, Chicago. Because, boy, what an upgrade that was. Right? You know your boy, he's dating that girl, and they break up. And all of a sudden, he's got a new girl, and you go, ooh, that's a downgrade. I think that's what people viewed Milwaukee as before last season. Like, whoa, you went from Craig Counsell, like this young former player, this great manager, and you're going to this like old guy. He's kind of overweight, and he walks around with snacks in his pocket. And he was a college coach, and he's never been a manager in the MLB. Like, poor Milwaukee. Like, not only did the Cubs steal their manager from their rival, it led to this slob. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, my God, yeah, Pat Murphy's the greatest manager that's ever existed. This guy's a genius. And by the way, putting snacks in your pocket, double genius. And third, he's going to win NL Manager of the Year back-to-back years. It's hard to call it a lock on August 13th, but it feels hard-pressed to find anybody else in the National League that's as qualified as he is, especially if they have the best record in the National League. So, yeah, not a downgrade. Maybe it might have been at the time, but, I mean, as we are a season and a half plus into Pat Murphy as the manager of the Brewers, it's like, oh, my God, this guy's reinvented the oldest sport in America. He's got them bunting out of the leadoff spot. I mean, seriously, it's remarkable what we are witnessing with the Milwaukee Brewers. I am just blown away. So, credit to the Brewers. Credit to the Brewers fans. By the way, over 40,000 people at AmFam Field today. This game was a 1:10 p.m. game on a Wednesday in August, and it was a sellout. So that tells you how big Brewers fever is and how this city and the state has continued to rally around this team, not only because they are the best team in baseball, not only because they are fun to watch, it's because it's worth everybody's dollar, it's worth everybody's time to go watch the best show in America. And the best show in America is your Milwaukee Brewers. We will talk Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love's thumb injury, preseason game number 2, joint practice coming up tomorrow between the Colts and the Packers out in Indianapolis. We will get the latest on all things green and gold coming up next from our buddy Jason Wilde, the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, and from Wilde and Tausch. Jason Wilde joins me next. It's the Homer Hour. Malik Striff sitting in for the Emmy Award winner Homer on ESPN Wisconsin.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
A couple incidents out there at this time. Flooding is still taking place on I-41 US 45 north, 0.8 miles beyond the ramp from County Line Road. The right lane is flooded, so be sure to take a different route. We're seeing backups on 41 southbound starting from Good Hope Road and clearing once you pass Capitol Drive. 94 westbound is at Snail's Crawl due to the Brewers game being let out. We don't see any clear-ups until you pass Elm Grove Road in Waukesha County. Over on 94 eastbound, we're seeing backups due to a crash at the exit from I-94 from Wisconsin 175 south. So be aware of that. Tonight's going to be clear with a low of 62 degrees. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high of 78 degrees. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Sean Brinda on 94.5 ESPN.
With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Please don't misunderstand me. They played like garbage. They deserve to be criticized. The coach has every right to be pissed.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It just felt like it was a little lack of perspective-y. Matt LaFleur challenged him to be a better leader, and sometimes that's maybe going against your coach a little bit publicly and having your guys back.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Tsunami Express is Milwaukee's go-to for a championship-level clean. And right now, your first wash is free when you sign up online. That's a $25 MVP car wash, loaded with gloss, protection, and all the extras, including free vacuums and detailing tools. With locations in Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, New Berlin, and Mount Pleasant, it's easier than ever to get a winning wash with Milwaukee's favorite car wash team. Get your free car wash before you pull up to the tailgate at TsunamiExpress.com. Tsunami Express Car Wash.
Wash, chill, repeat.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at more than 25 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that's Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
Following Saturday's preseason opener against the New York Jets, Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love was seen with his left thumb taped at Monday's practice, closed to the public but open to the media. Tuesday morning, the bad news came down as general manager Brian Gutekunst announced that the QB would be undergoing a procedure on his thumb and hopes he'll be ready come week 1 against the Lions.
Jordan is having a little procedure done on his left thumb that he hurt in the game. Hope to have him back at practice next week.
Continued coverage all day right here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Alex Strofe.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank.
Need a mortgage? Don't look far. In your backyard is where we are. Visit a Tri-City near you. Get a great rate from your hometown crew. Tri-City National Bank. Equal housing lender. NMLS 4333891.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
All right, here we go. Quarter 2, Homer Hour, ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Alex Strofe in for the Emmy Award winner tonight. Always look forward to my conversations with the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, the co-host of Wilde and Tausch, Jason Wilde. We will get to the Packers in a moment. But Jason, I'll give you the floor to apologize right off the rip.
I'm not apologizing for anything.
You tried to ban me from the airwaves today.
No, I didn't.
I mean, yes, you did.
No, I didn't. First of all, unlike Jesse Nelson, I have no power of anything. Second of all, if you don't understand...
Like Jesse Nelson.
Yeah, he's very powerful. No, he's very powerful. Just ask him. If you don't understand what being facetious is, if you don't understand my sense of humor, if you think that I actually think that something that you could do could influence the outcome of a sporting event that you are not playing in, you just don't know me very well at all. I was trying to be playful. I was trying to be get involved in the fun, and I'm very glad that they won, because had they not today, you and Will the Thrill going to George Webb's earlier in the day probably would have drawn the ire of some people that are superstitious or believe in jinxes and walking under ladders and breaking mirrors and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I think I only got 3 death threats today prior to the end of the game, so that's pretty good.
Like if those are the people that you need to talk about, because in the immortal words of Sergeant Holka in Stripes, lighten up, Francis.
Yep.
If you're thinking that way. Like, in all seriousness, when I tweeted that out yesterday, now, did I think that you would surprise us on our show by coming on from a George Webb's? No, but I loved that you
was
did.
Planned.
That was awesome.
So just a little background knowledge. You tweeted that about 90 seconds later. I texted Jesse Nelson. I said, "Hey, I'm going to go to George Webb at 11:30. Can I join?" And he said yes. So we've had that plan since last night. All thanks to your facetious. I can never say that word. Can you say it for me?
Easy for you to say.
Can you say it for me?
Facetious.
Thank you.
Did you know that the word facetiously is one, I think, of only 2 words in the English language that has all of the vowels, including Y,
Oh, wow.
in order
Oh, wow.
in the word? Faceitiously. Facetiously.
I think you missed the I, but yes, you are correct.
Well, it's in there somewhere.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Be that as it may,
after the E. Yes.
I'm glad.
Fascinating.
I'm glad they won. So nothing bad has to befall you, or no stupid people are gonna attack you. But I do believe that with the 60 whole people that liked my tweets, and I pay for the stupid check mark, I don't get anything close to the run that I peaked during the peak Twitter at like 92,000 followers. I thought I was well on my way to 100,000. I am at 83,000. I have been stuck there for probably 3 years now, at least 2. So I don't get the engagement I used to, but I was proud to join the discussion and poke a little fun and tag you and Will, and that was great. And I'm glad they won. I have had a craving because I grew up not next door, but close to a George Webb restaurant. It was on Forest Home Avenue, about 47th, 48th Street in Milwaukee. I think 51st. Yeah, somewhere around that region, maybe a little bit lower in the 40s. But it was, I remember getting a bag of burgers.
Yeah.
You know, my dad couldn't cook. So I love that that George, or I guess it's not really George anymore, is a man of his word, and he's going to give away burgers yet again. But I love this promotion, and I'm glad you guys went there and had your pancakes and had your burgers, because it is an institution. I know it's a partner of ours as well. So congrats to George Webb and everyone who's going to try and get a free burger in the coming days.
Yeah, Brewers fever is real. Thus, 40,000 people at American Family Field today for a 1:10 first pitch on a random Wednesday in August. Pretty awesome to see this city and this state wrap their arms around their baseball team. But let's talk about their football team, who has a joint practice tomorrow and a second preseason game coming up Saturday against the Indianapolis Colts. So it's been a weird week, Jason. I mean, from Brian Gutekunst just casually dropping at the beginning of his press conference yesterday that Jordan Love will have a little procedure, to just about every receiver and their grandma getting injured early in the week. There is not a shortage of storylines heading into this joint practice against the Indianapolis Colts. What do you have your eye on as the Packers get ready for their first of 2 joint practices this preseason?
Yeah, health is number one. I have to do something for the 10 o'clock news for Channel 3 in Madison, and I'm going to focus on that. And they have, look, I think it's important to differentiate between teams that lose crucial players to season-ending injuries and teams that are dealing with a myriad of troublesome, bothersome, inconvenient injuries. And I think all of the Packers' injuries as of now fall under that latter category, right? I mean, look, Jordan Love is going to now I don't have a crystal ball, and he should still be careful crossing Oneida Street and whatever else, but Jordan Love is going to play in the opener. I don't think anybody's inside that building is worried about that. They've got a great medical staff. I'm sure they did a great job on the minimally invasive surgery, and he'll be ready to go. I believe Goody when he says Xavier McKinney will be out there. He said, absolutely. I'm going to choose to believe him yet again, even though he said once upon a time that Aaron Jones was absolutely going to be back. All those wide receivers we're talking about, Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks. We know the timeline now on Christian Watson. He will not start the season on the active roster. He will miss at least the first 4 games on the PUP list. He will not practice. Goody said after those 4 games, he's going to be chomping at the bit, and it's going to be hard to hold him back. That doesn't mean they're not going to hold him back, I think they will. So whether he's ready for Pittsburgh in week 8, which is the 7th game, or after that, I don't know. He'll be back eventually, though, because he's doing great in his comeback from his ACL. And then Romeo Dobbs, he could practice tomorrow for all we know. Like, he did take a hard spill, which even surprised Evan Williams, who was involved in the play. But the bottom line is he might be okay to practice tomorrow with the Colts. So I think the reality is that the biggest concern, and I'm going to write about this tonight, is how do you get your offense up to speed functionally? And I asked Matt LaFleur that exact question. Like, how are you going to get everybody on the same page and get everybody cooking when nobody's out there, including now Jordan Love? And I got it. That's a great question, which I always appreciate from him, which I think it was a great question. And he was also stalling because he doesn't have a good answer for it. So, you can do it with Malik Willis out there and having the guys run the same routes that are going to be playing on opening day, but those guys aren't practicing right now either. So I think it's challenging. Matthew Golden continues to impress. Hopefully he stays away from whatever this injury bug is, and he's able to continue to be productive in practice and safe in games. But the bottom line is that the biggest challenge this creates is how do you get some offensive synchronicity when none of the guys are actually able to practice right now?
Synchronicity, another good word. Dropping knowledge as Jason Wilde joins me here on the Homer Hour. Yeah, you mentioned Matthew Golden, and I know you're not in the prediction business, right? I don't want you to sit here and tell me he's going to have the first 1,000-yard season since Davante Adams. But you're buying into the hype around him, right? Like, he looks the part of a true, and I know this is going to make Matt LaFleur vomit when I say it, but he looks the part of a true wide receiver one, at least at this part in the offseason, yes?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have been spoiled because the guys that have been number one receivers that have been paired with Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers, I think they were good receivers of their own volition. I don't want to make it sound like they were made by the two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but those two guys obviously made those guys even better. So whether it's Jordy Nelson, whether it's Greg Jennings, whether it's Davante Adams, I mean, those guys became great number one wide receivers. Like, people forget, and this is, again, one of the reasons why I am like Ted Thompson was about preseason. Ted was there, and so was I in Pittsburgh when Jordy blew out his ACL in a preseason game on August 23rd, 2015. It just takes the wind out of your sails. And sometimes teams are able to overcome that sort of stuff. The Packers lost Robert Brooks in the 1996 season, their number one receiver, and they still went and won the Super Bowl. So it is possible. But those types of injuries are just so devastating, not just to the player himself, but to the team as a whole. And so I hate preseason. It makes me nervous. But the reality is if Matthew Golden is going to become a one-ish receiver already as a rookie, he needs to work now. So it's good that he's out there. It's good that he's healthy. It's good that he's looking the part. It's good that he's, drawing comparisons from me to Greg Jennings. Because when Greg Jennings was on top of his game with that silky smooth route running and not the same speed as Matthew Golden, but still fast enough, obviously, great hands, powerful, strong hands, which we see from Golden. Greg Jennings didn't become that overnight, but man, by year 2, he had like 12 touchdown catches. He was super productive, and then he became their number one until he ceded that to Jordy, and then Jordy was the guy until he ceded it to Davante. And since they moved on from Davante, they just haven't had that guy. And I'm not saying Matthew Golden will be a finished product by the end of the season, but I think by the end of the season, you're going to see him be pretty special.
Love that. Last thing for you, Jason, before we get you out of here, is I'll give Josh DiMaggio credit, the producer of Jen Gabe and Chewy and my co-host on Mr. Irrelevant. He said something today that I hadn't thought of with this Jordan Love, and it sounds like he'll only miss a week or two. But for Matthew Golden specifically, it's a really good thing that the Packers have a veteran backup now in Malik Willis, a guy that has played in this league for several years, a guy that has game reps, a guy that knows what it means to be a professional, because And while it's a significant drop-off in terms of talent from Jordan Love to Malik Willis, right? Obviously, Love is the starting quarterback for a reason. It's very important for Matthew Golden's development here in his youth, here in his first preseason, to have a guy that's been around the block a few times. And I thought that was a really good point by Josh, as Malik Willis will get the start on Saturday.
I mean, it pains me to ever say the words, that's a really good point by Josh.
Yeah, me too.
It is.
Yeah.
I would also add, though, Malik Willis, I don't know exactly what he is, but I know what he's not. And what he's not is the guy that the Tennessee Titans gave really very little direction, gave very little opportunity to succeed, and made him look worse than he was. Like, he was thrown into a difficult situation. He was not productive. He was not successful. But this is why situations matter so much. And had he had some of the same opportunity that Jordan Love had to sit and wait, that Aaron Rodgers had, that some of these other quarterbacks have had, albeit varying lengths of time that they got to wait, I like his chances better. Because, look, they gave up on him in favor of Will Levis, and Will Levis was no better. Right? He got a Mayo endorsement, but he was no better than Malik Willis was.
Well done.
And there was a throw yesterday, to your point, or to Josh's point. It was over the middle, and it was Golden running across her. And the throw that Malik Willis made through a very tiny window and past a diving Tyron Hopper, and the concentration and the hands that Matthew Golden showed, it was, we were talking to Josh Jacobs afterward, and that throw, and then a throw that he had later, that was in the third down period, a throw he had later to Luke Musgrave for a touchdown in 2 minutes. Josh Jacobs said it. Like, that guy made some wow throws. I was like, hey, I've heard that phrase before. Or he made some throws that made you say wow. And that's what you want to see. And so the idea that, Malik Willis, we had Steve-O and SoCal suggesting, again, as some did at points last season, that the Packers would be better off with Malik Willis as their starting quarterback. I think that's probably a little bit of a overstatement, to be kind, but I think he's better than he got credit for in Tennessee. And to Josh's point, I think he allows them to continue to do a lot of the things they want to do in practice with whoever's available to catch passes from him, without Jordan Love being available. And I don't think that there is a drop-off. There's no doubt about it. But at least they're able to function, and those guys are going to get quality work, whereas, I think Sean Clifford has been inconsistent. I think Taylor Elgersma is light years away, he's closer to being an NFL player than the Irish kicker is from Gaelic football in Ireland. But, I think that Malik Willis allows them to get a lot accomplished that they wouldn't otherwise be able to if they were doing this with a completely inexperienced, unproven dude filling in for Love in practice.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that. Jason Wilde will be listening to you 9 a.m. Wilde and Tausch tomorrow. Thanks, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care. Be good.
The great Jason Wilde covering all things green and gold as the Packers get ready for preseason game number 2 and joint practice number 1 tomorrow against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm Alex Strofe in for Homer tonight. We're getting back to the Brewers Power Hour, baby. Come on. What they have been able to do this year is just truly deserving of every single ounce of airtime I can give them this evening. So we will do that. Tim Van Vooren will also join us to wrap up the show. We will talk Brewers and maybe a little bit of Packers with him. All still ahead. It's the Homer Hour, ESPN Wisconsin.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Still has some excessive flooding on I-41 US 45 North, 0.8 miles beyond the ramp from County Line Road. The right lane is closed due to high water levels, so be sure to avoid that. We're seeing backups on 41 southbound starting from Good Hope Road and clearing up once you pass Capitol Drive. 41 northbound is seeing backups once you pass North Swan Boulevard, and that clears up right before West Hampton Avenue. Over on 94 eastbound, we're seeing backups due to a crash on the exit from I-94 from Wisconsin 175 south. 94 westbound is at a snail's crawl due to the Brewers game being let out. We don't see any clear-ups until you pass Elm Grove Road in Waukesha County. Tonight will be clear with a low of 62 degrees. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high of 78 degrees. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Sean Brinda on 94.5 ESPN.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Faith and Bigora, lads and lassies. Irish Fest is almost here. One of the great Milwaukee summer festivals. And we'd like to send you there. Compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Purchase any one 18-pack bottle of Coors Light or Coors Banquet and receive one free ticket to Irish Fest. But don't delay. Tickets go quickly, and I know you don't want to miss all the great Irish food and beverages. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Discount Liquor, voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. See us this week for your free Irish Fest ticket.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Check out all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. When Tri-City National Bank decided to optimize their print output strategy, they needed a resource with the expertise to recommend a solution. CIO Robert Prang.
And James helped us with that analysis of what our print consumption was and what we were doing.
The outcome of the James Imaging Systems Managed Print Services recommendation?
We ended up reducing down to about 97 total printers and copiers from 197.
The impact on your print output?
We eliminated over 500,000 pages a month of output that we figured out we really didn't need.
Month after month, that adds up to savings and value.
Oh, tons of value. Those numbers add up even when it's only a penny or so per page.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation. To learn more, visit jamesimaging.com.
At Cousin Subs, the bigger your smile, the better we feel. That's why our menu features something for everyone, like our Wisconsin cheese curds, golden fries, creamy shakes, and mac and cheese, all paired with your favorite sub or our subs in a bowl. And don't forget our kids' meals, now with a free cookie. Here's to a better day. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Windows, windows, windows. You hear all about everyone's windows and how theirs are the greatest. I'll tell you, our windows are the best as well. Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, and I'm right there with you. We've taken the most trusted brand in windows, Pella, and paired them with such an outstanding business that we will deliver results to you at your home. Siding Unlimited has won Pella's prestigious 5-time Pella Platinum Premier National Contractor of the Year award. Siding Unlimited is the company to install your new windows.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
You might have kids in the car with you. Let's count together, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What comes after 11, everybody? That's 12, and that's how many in a row the Brewers have won. It's the Homer Hour. Alex Strofe with you in for a Homer one final day. Tony Cartagena, Brian Bulaga, and Gary Ellerson will have you the rest of the week as Homer out in Ireland. The Brewers win again today over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not only is it their 12th win in a row, and not only does that get you burgers from George Webb Restaurants, they will announce the date tomorrow as to when you can receive that. But that's 4 series sweeps in a row. And albeit 12 wins in a row, no matter how many series it is or whatever, 12 wins in a row is unbelievably impressive in baseball. But 4 series sweeps in a row is truly remarkable. And again, none of these teams, well, New York's still in the mix, and, but Washington's not very good. Atlanta's underwhelming this year. Pittsburgh stinks. I get some of these teams aren't very good, but it's baseball, right? Teams win that aren't supposed to all the time. The worst team wins all the time. There's 162 games. Baseball's a weird sport like that, where it's not played on paper. I actually saw a graphic today. The MLB is by far the league with the most parity because anybody can win on any day. But to win 12 in a row is truly ridiculous. But 4 series sweeps in a row shows you the dominance that we are witnessing from the Milwaukee Brewers. And I referenced the stat earlier if you're just joining us on the Homer Hour here on ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Beaver Dam. This is the first time in 90 years a National League team has had 2 winning streaks of 11 games or more in the same season. 1935, the last time that happened. The Brewers are on a 12-game winning streak, and just 3 weeks ago we're on an 11-game winning streak. So, I mean, we've been saying it for weeks, if not months at this point. But if you are the type of baseball fan that, watches opening day and then kind of tunes out until now or September or the postseason, it is time to wake up, because what we are witnessing in our backyard just up the street at AmFam Field is unheard of. It is stuff we've never seen out of the Milwaukee Brewers in the entirety of the franchise's existence. They're that good. They have the best pitching staff in baseball. Defensively, they're probably the most disciplined and make the least errors of just about anybody in baseball. Offensively, they steal more bases than anybody in the National League. And they might not hit the most home runs, but damn are they the most fun. They just are. Nobody's having more fun than the Milwaukee Brewers and the Milwaukee Brewers fans. And I can't wait to get some perspective from our friend and Fox 6 sports director, Tim Van Vooren. TVV will join us next as we wrap up the Homer Hour here on ESPN Wisconsin, talking a little Brewers, maybe a little Packers with our buddy TVV. That is next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Ben Brust. This Friday, August 15th, join Kyle Brust and Ortman live from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Vault Restaurant in downtown Milwaukee. We'll have drink specials, raffle items, Milwaukee baseball tickets, and of course, a wonderful view of downtown Milwaukee. A portion of the proceeds are also going to support the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. To support a great cause and to celebrate one of the best venues in Milwaukee, head to the Vault this Friday, August 15th on Kilbourne Ave in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. We'll see you there.
Looking to heat up a career in HVAC?
Dick & Trauff Heating and Cooling in Milwaukee is now hiring HVAC installers and service technicians. Family owned and operated, Dick & Trauff offers competitive wages, a 401k match, health insurance benefits, and a winning, positive team culture that sets them apart. This is more than a job. It's a chance to grow with a company that truly values its people. Apply now to become their newest team member at dickandtrauff.com. Dick & Trauff Heating and Cooling. Come see the difference. Apply at dickandtrauff.com.
Escape to Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin, where everything is better at the lake. Dive into endless outdoor activities, including boating, fishing, and paddleboarding on the serene Delavan Lake. Tee off at the lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind in the award-winning Calidora Spa. Enjoy gourmet meals at 1878 on the lake, casual bites at the Lookout Bar and Eatery, and sweet treats at the Isle of Capri Cafe. Explore Delavan Lake's stunning shores and historic landmarks from the comfort of their 76-foot cruise boat, the Lake Lawn Queen. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com.
Let me go on.
Violent Femmes.
Like I blister in the sun. Let me go on.
Performing the debut album
I know you're the one.
and the second album, Hallowed Ground.
You can all just kiss off in
Violent Femmes.
Behind
2
my
sets
back,
with
I
intermission. No opening. Live at the Riverside Theater. Saturday, October 18th. Sold out. But second show added. October 19th. Get tickets on sale now at PabstTheaterGroup.com. Violent Femmes.
It's racing season, and that means Road America in Elkhart Lake is the best place to be. It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here, and I got the chance to chat with Road America's communications director, John Everett, about what makes Road America special for drivers and fans. Tell us why you think, if you haven't been, why you need to go, what's happened, and what is the future here.
Here's the deal. We're called America's National Parker Speed for a reason, because you're not dedicated to a seat once you come in. You can move around the facility, and there's tons of improvements to check out, including our new walkover bridge and golf cart bridge along the front straight. The Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty Beach was massively popular during our IMSA event. It's always fun to sort of sit under a palm tree, put your feet in the sand, and watch some world-class racing. There's still lots of great racing coming up. You've got the GT World Challenge that's going to be August 15th through the 17th. During the VSCD8 event, September 12th through the 14th, we're going to have a fireworks show on Friday night. It's included with your event admission, so definitely check out roadamerica.com for that, because we're going to be celebrating our 70th anniversary during that event.
Be a part of race day at Road America. Visit roadamerica.com to get tickets.
It's Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Upgrade your industrial supply services with Lakeland Supply, your trusted ISO certified partner for custom packaging, shipping supplies, janitorial, and safety supply solutions. With over 40 years of industry excellence, Lakeland Supply is a proven one-stop source with over 95% of their products made in the U.S., and they treat their customers like family. Personalized service with a national reach. That's what Lakeland Supply does. Visit lakelandsupply.com to discover how they can make your business better.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. Cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? Using trusted resources and talking to live therapists can help you break through the noise. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off the first month at BetterHelp.com/timeout. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
Rain Man is brought to you by Cousin Subs. Skip the line and order online with the Cousin Subs mobile app and join the Cousins Club. Cousin Subs, they believe in better. Welcome back to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. The three most important letters in sports. Even better than those.
TVV.
It's Fox 6 Sports Director Tim Van Vooren on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
It doesn't matter what time zone, what state, what city he's in. Still always makes time for us little people here on the Homer Hour. I'm Alex Struff in for Homer. Excited to be joined now by the Fox 6 Sports Director from Indianapolis ahead of tomorrow's joint practice between the Packers and the Colts and Saturday's preseason game. Tim Van Vooren with me now. And Tim, maybe we'll get to Packers. We might get to Packers. Obviously a big story with their quarterback going on. But holy smokes, man. Can you believe what we are witnessing with the Milwaukee Brewers?
Absolutely cannot, Alex. Nice to be on with you, and what a great time for Milwaukee and Wisconsin sports fans. I don't know what you say. You know, last night's game was on Fox 6. We were excited about it, so you do a one-on-one interview after the game. That's with Sal Frelick, and I said, we're all looking for these angles, Sal, as to why this is happening. Is it possible you're just a really good baseball team? You say, you know what? I couldn't agree with you more. And I think really that's kind of what we've all missed through this, Alex. This is a very talented baseball team. And where's the weak spot? Where's the weak spot on the pitching staff? Where's the weak spot with the position players? Hard spot.
I can't name one. I mean, I just think they're that good, Tim, right? I mean, and it's not always – I keep using the word sexy, and I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not always the sexiest brand of baseball. Last night they hit home runs. Today they score 12 runs and don't hit a home run. Right? And it's Murph ball, right? They can beat you in so many different ways. Defensively, they are so disciplined and don't make errors. On the base pads, they're so disciplined when they're running. One of the best teams and one of the fastest teams in the league. And to your point, the pitching staff is as good as anybody. I mean, they are just, like you said, and like you said to Sal Frelick, I think they're just a damn good baseball team.
I think they are. They have so many of the attributes you'd want. You just listed them there. The pitching staff, they keep you in the game, right? So if your starting pitching is as good as the Brewers' starting pitching has been, you're in almost every game. That gives you confidence right there, going to the ballpark, figuring, well, we're going to have a shot here tonight or today, whatever it might be. I was there, as I said, last night covering the game. I was there the night before Monday night, Alex. This is where we are with this team. It felt like a ho-hum win. It was the 10th win in a row. they, were in complete control. It was like, well, ho-hum, they beat the Pirates. That's where you are. 10 wins in a row, it's like, well, ho-hum. Last night, 11. Today, 12. Where's it end? I don't know. But this team, even if you think, are they peaking too early? None of this is fluky. I don't know where the downturn would be because they just have a lot of guys pressing for playing time and pressing for productivity.
Yeah, and so much credit has to go to their manager, Pat Murphy, in his second year. I mean, he's just got these guys humming. And I know he won the only award managers can win last year, Tim. He won the NL Manager of the Year. He's likely to win it again this year with the way these guys are playing. But I still don't know if that's enough credit for how good and influential he has been on this team.
And when we talked a moment ago about where's the weak spot on the roster, I'm going to ask, where's the weak spot on the coaching staff? Where's the weak spot in the front office?
Totally.
I mean, Matt Arnold has to be on anybody's list here. The acquisitions, the way they've turned out for just roster building here. And then this coaching staff, Matt Erickson, in-season improvement by these infielders. Do you remember when Caleb Durbin was called up? Admittedly, not even on the opening day roster. Called up, and the question marks about him. How good is he playing a regular third base now? Joey Ortiz, the commitment to him at shortstop. Second base, obviously, with Terang, you knew what you had there. The in-season improvement of a guy like Durbin, to me, that's Matt Erickson on that infield. Chris Hook and the coaches for the pitching, unbelievable. The base coaches, we're not sitting there pinpointing these mistakes that these guys make. And the way the offenses come around, the hitting coaches all deserve the credit as well. It's like, where's the weak link? I don't see one.
I don't either. I'm right there with you. It's just been an absolute pleasure and joy to watch this team win the way they have and play the way they have, and love a good Matt Erickson pop, the longtime manager of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, who I got to know and cover back in the day when he was up in Grand Chute in Appleton. But Tim Van Vooren, the Fox 6 sports director, here with us for a few more minutes on the Homer Hour. All right, you're out in Indianapolis. Are you going to get your shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo's? Is that on the agenda the next few days?
That's been achieved in the past. I don't know if it'll be in the next couple of days here. If you're ever in Indy and staying downtown or something, you have to check that one off for sure. They do have it at the airport, though.
Really?
You can get it at the airport without having to sit through pay the downtown prices or sit through the waiting list to get in downtown. So that's just a little local knowledge tip there.
That's how you know TVV is a big deal. They're flying you to Indy. They're not making you drive the 7 hours.
We drove on this one, Alex, which is fine to do. But that's just it's almost worth the drive out to the airport just to eat if you can get in and get to the spot out there. What would you call that? It's not a knockoff spot. It's a
secondary location. Yeah.
Secondary location, satellite location. You're right.
Satellite. I like that. So no Jordan Love, obviously, in this joint practice, nor the preseason game after the thumb procedure that happened yesterday. What'd you make of that? That was kind of a weird one. He practiced Monday with the taped thumb, and then Brian Gutekunst just kind of nonchalantly kicked off his press conference with reporters yesterday by announcing he would have a, quote, little procedure, end quote, done on his left thumb. I thought the whole timeline there was a little interesting.
No question, Alex. Good observation. And that's one of those where all the reporters go, huh? Did we just hear that?
Right.
Huh? No question. It was a strange play on Saturday night anyway. It just looked weird. And then, obviously, Jordan Love was out there with the wrap for the first practice. And then, as you said, the information comes out from the GM that this is happening today. And we expect Love to join the team here in Indy and be with the team as it goes through the joint practices, obviously not participate in the joint practice. So I'm not overly worked up about what I think is legitimately described as a minor procedure on a non-throwing hand. But it is kind of a weird, off-putting type scenario as you get into this season. And now, Xavier McKinney not going to be there through the preseason. Nate Hobbs not going to be there through the preseason. Christian Watson, obviously not. Jaden Reed in a boot. I'm not overly concerned, but it doesn't swell your confidence either, at least at the current time.
No, the injury bug's certainly biting, and I guess you'd rather it now than, say, mid-October, but all the receivers, right? Romeo Dobbs goes down yesterday, and he could be back, it sounds like, after talking with Jason Wilde a few minutes ago. But, the injuries are all over the place. They might have you running routes at joint practice tomorrow, given how many receivers have gone down in the last few weeks.
The Colts would be snickering, Alex, no question about it. The thing about, I'm looking at this Packers season. I'll probably use this analogy again, but I'm using it here for the first time, Alex.
Exclusive.
Well, I'm looking at this Packers season as like the NASCAR season. You know, in NASCAR, the biggest event of the year is the first event of the year, the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the Packers, that first game is a monster game. The Lions at home. You only have 8 home games. The Lions at home. And if you're not getting anything through the preseason from so many key players, it just isn't the ideal scenario to start things out with your Daytona 500 kickoff.
That's a good analogy, TVV. I like that. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's such a huge home opener, and obviously that first 4 or 5 days as they get Washington on Thursday Night Football in week 2. It's a heck of a start to the season, and now Jordan Love probably not going to see any more reps, at least live bullets, in the preseason. So hopefully he's able to come in strong in week 1 against Detroit. How about the defensive line? Didn't love what I saw out of especially the first team in the first preseason game on Saturday against the Jets. I don't know if we'll see the starters, to be real honest with you. I don't know if we know that for sure in game number 2. But what are you looking for, especially in the joint practice from that D line? Just hopefully they're able to get after whoever's playing quarterback for the Colts a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, you got Anthony Richardson, you have Daniel Jones. Those are going to be the main Colts guys, and they're both expected to play a little bit on Saturday. We'll see how they go through the joint practice tomorrow. I wasn't overly discouraged by a couple of those guys. And some of them are veterans where they're going to pick their spot and come through when it matters. They're not going to expend themselves in early August. I think there's a lot on this Packer defense this year. The defensive line starts it because if you're light at cornerback, teams are going to just sit there and pick those spots if you can't pressure them at the ball. And so the ability to get some penetration from those edge rushers is going to be critical, and some of it up the middle as well. Again, I don't think you're jumping, you're doing cartwheels over what you saw the other night. But to me, Lucas Van Ness has had a nice camp. He's moving along a little bit. Kingsley Enagbari, I've talked about him with Homer, is a guy who gets there. Brenton Cox showed a little bit the other night, and he's a guy that played some over the second half of last season with some effectiveness. I'm not sure it's going to be I'm not sure Rashawn Gary is that much better than some of the other guys they have, to be honest with you. And it's it's a group. It's not a one man and 3 tag-alongs as far as I'm concerned for most NFL teams with the edge rushers, unless you have one of those real standouts. I think it's kind of a 4 or 5 person group in Green Bay. It might be closer to that than you think, even though Gary, again, is a Pro Bowl player.
You're the man, TVV. Great stuff as always. Safe travels. Enjoy your excursions out in Indy for the next couple of days.
Terrific, Alex. Have a great one.
The great Tim Van Vooren, sports director of Fox 6 out in Indianapolis, covering the Packers and Colts joint practice tomorrow and the preseason game number 2 coming up on Saturday for the green and gold. Yeah, these joint practices are always interesting. So follow along what you can on social media. Obviously, TVV will have reports over on Fox 6. Jason Wilde will cover from afar. Rob Demovsky will also be out there in Indianapolis. You can get a lot of good takeaways, especially with the starters who you only see on a limited basis in the preseason games. The joint practices tend to give you at least some things to be excited about or be down about, given what the theme was last week for the Packers in that preseason opener. The Brewers have won 12 in a row. George Webb Burgers coming to a George Webb location near you soon. They will announce the date for that. Tomorrow at noon, I believe, is what the release said, when George Webb will announce that coming up. Thanalysis is coming up next on ESPN Milwaukee with the Skip. Pat Murphy, the guest, joining TC and Thanasis on Thanalysis, coming up right after this on ESPN Milwaukee. Have a great rest of your night. Go Brewers. Peace.
Flooding is still taking place on I-41 US 45 North, 0.8 miles beyond the Ramfam County.